Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of the Party Wagon podcast. Every week, 4 of us get together and we talk about all things Ninja Turtles. Sometimes we swap it up a little bit. Sometimes it's the same faces you're used to. This week, we've got Justin, we've got Nick, and we've got Steven. And we just kind of came up with today's topic off the top of our heads. And we're just going to talk about the past and the present of the Ninja Turtles movies. And maybe TV shows if we have time. We'll see about that. Maybe we'll do that in a future episode. But this is going to be a very opinionated episode. This is going to be a lot of throwbacks on what we remember as kids, how we're feeling now as adults with the new stuff coming out, like Mutant Mayhem. And we will just kind of see where this goes and hope everybody enjoys it. So thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this awesome episode.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
Hey.
So a couple things out of the way. We'll say a few couple things. That's 2 different things. That's 3 and 2. A couple things out of the way. Wonderful Nick is having a couple of audio issues here today. So if you see him pop out and pop back in, if you're watching, don't worry. He's okay. He's just popping in and out because he's got to fix his audio. We have a couple of fun little things to say. Not really say sponsors, but Steven, take it away with what we want to talk about.
I just want to give a shout out to the Last Toy Store. They recently made some Party Wagon stickers, so if you want to grab one of those, next time you do your order, just mention Party Wagon, and they'll throw a couple of stickers in there for you. And also, you can get a discount if you go to our website, www.tmntpw.com. Go to Friends and Partners, and you can get a 10% discount over there as well. So go check it out.
Awesome. Yeah, so they've been awesome. I've purchased something from them in the past, and it was actually a Splinter figure, the Van Helsing Splinter, and they packaged it better than any other company that I've ever bought from. They're a small business, and in the Party Wagon, we do like to support small businesses. So if you like to buy toys, go check them out, The Last Toy Store. That's a Steven project. Steven set that up for all of us, so that was pretty awesome. But without further ado...
It's a great project because, they're great people.
What was that, Steven?
Sorry, it's a great project because they're easy to work with. They're great people and they have great products and they safe and fast shipping. So yeah, trust them.
Definitely. And Justin, have you experienced anything with them yet? Have you bought anything from them?
I have not bought anything from them, but I have seen in a lot of the groups. I'm part of their Facebook group as well, and I've seen a lot of people give good reviews on them. So
yeah,
seems
super
good.
Stoked. Yeah, super stoked on them, 100%. But anyway, I guess we'll just jump into it. Why the people came here and come here to hear us talk about buying some toys. We'll talk about the movies, as we said, and we'll just kind of go into it. I guess we wouldn't be doing it justice if we didn't talk about the first movie. I almost said episode 1. The first movie from 1990. Now, we always make jokes about Nick here because we call him he's the baby boy of the group. He's the youngest. He grew up in a different era than the rest of us. While the rest of us are receding our hairlines, he's growing his hair. So this is going to be different. So let's talk about the first movie. And I want Steven to kick this one off for us because I want to know what you think of the first movie and why it means that much to you or why it doesn't mean that much to you.
Well, good question. The first movie, it's obviously one of the best. Nothing beats the OG in my opinion. I think they just did it right with not being animated, with it being almost realistic. When I went to first go see it, it just I felt they were real. I felt like I could be friends with them, right? Of course, I was young, didn't know any better. However, it was just amazing. I went with my parents and my siblings. They actually first told me they didn't get the tickets, and I was bawling my eyes out. But when they actually showed me the tickets, I was jumping for joy. So right then and there, I mean, that's a memory. It's just, how can I put it this way? After the cartoon with that movie, it was just amazing. It's just, words can't explain how amazing, in my opinion, that movie is. Sorry for keep on saying amazing because it truly is.
Yeah, that was definitely a product of its time. Jim Henson did the suits for that. The Jim Henson Company, he died before the release of the movie, which was super sad. That was, at the time, the biggest grossing independent film that had ever been released. And that's literally because of kids like us. I was only 3, unfortunately, when that movie came out, so I didn't see it in theaters, but I could definitely understand that excitement because at age, I don't know, 32, right as the pandemic was kind of lifted up a little bit, I went and saw it in theaters. So when they re-released it, it was pretty cool. How about you, Justin? What are your
Yeah.
memories? Why is it important to you?
Well, to me, the first movie is very important for a bunch of different reasons. I did get to see it when I was a kid in theaters, and I absolutely loved it. It was mind blowing to me. Naturally, like most of us, I started off inside the comic or inside the cartoon show. I didn't know much about the comics, and then it was shortly after the first movie came out that I actually ended up getting I think it was like issue 4 or 5 of the comic. I don't remember which one it is. I haven't had it in a long time. But I ended up really liking the comic, and I ended up finding out that it was more based off of that, which I really liked because, even as a kid, I liked, the darker, grittier stuff like that. It was great, but in more recent times, it kind of re-justified its being my favorite for another reason. The first time my daughter got to see it, or the first time we let her see it, we actually took her to see it in theaters because they played it a few towns away from here. I wasn't going to let her watch it because I just didn't think she was old enough for it. But once I found out that it was going to be in theaters over here in Woodridge, it was like, no, now's the time. Because the first time I saw it was in theaters. First time she saw it and was in theaters with me. So it was awesome. We went and I actually took a bunch of Hot Wheels party wagons with me, and I ended up handing them out while we were there to people. Um, it was a fun time. She loved it, of course. Um, as far as movies, it's my favorite version of the Turtles movies. Um, if we're including animated movies, though, it's not. So, well, I'm sure if we get into the animated movies, we'll get to that point. But it's not my number one Turtles movie if we include animated. Turtles Forever is mine.
Yeah, definitely. So I'm going to kind of spin it a little bit. So for me, uh, it is my favorite Turtles movie so far, or in general ever. But for me, the reason I like it so much is because of how grounded it was, right? So from me growing up, I've always enjoyed stories. I don't like I'm not a huge Marvel fan. I mean, I like the Spider-Man movies and such, but the Avengers movies and like Captain America, all that, it's just a lot of this mindless action. And I feel like the narrative really gets lost in it. And for me, with the Turtles, yes, there was a ton of action in it, but growing up, I liked the grounding of the story and the characters. It really made them feel real, and that they weren't just some kind of fake made up thing. Everything about the first movie I felt was super grounded. We all know it was based off the actual comic book, but with the dark tones, me being from New York and it quote unquote taking place in New York City, it felt realistic to me, right? So for me as a younger kid watching that, knowing they weren't real, they felt real. And till this day, I think that left a big impression on me as I've grown up because I love story narratives. Like I'm a big Quentin Tarantino fan because most of his films are just a lot of dialogue and story, and you get a lot of backstory on characters. And that's how I felt about the original Turtles film, and I still feel that way today. I don't know why, but I still tear up at scenes, even if they're not even like sad. Most of them aren't sad; they're just fun. But for some reason, like it really activates that in my brain to where it's just like an emotional nostalgia experience. But like that's really what the first movie kind of means to me. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to see it in theaters, but
Yeah, I have a very emotional part in it. Like when I don't want to say like I don't tear up or anything, but I get like the goosebumps feeling every time when Raph walks back in and they realize that Splinter's gone and they do that camera shake thing. Every time that camera spins around and you can see Raph like just losing his mind in his head, it gives me goosebumps even to this day.
right, and we all like that's not great film work. That filmography is terrible, but how grounded it is what really
Right.
brings out that emotion because you believe that they're real when you're watching it. You could feel that pain. That camera spin with that low frame rate was just not a. I mean, it was a product of the '90s, late '80s, early '90s, but it's definitely nothing that you look at now and you're like, that's great filmmaking. No, but it's the emotion that still brings it out, regardless of nostalgia. Like they did a really good job of grounding that, in my personal opinion. Um, now that the old heads are out of the way, I want to jump to Nick
Nick.
because because Nick is like I said, Nick's the young one out of the group. This can mean something completely different to him because he didn't grow up with this movie. Didn't have that. He grew up in an era where VHSs were gone. So we had the VHSs.
I had those.
He had some. Well,
I had those.
you know what I mean. They were on the way. They were on their way out. Those digital video discs, you young kids. So Nick, what are your thoughts, man? What's your thoughts on the movie?
Well, unlike you, Gary, I was there watching it in theaters when it first came out. No, I was sitting in my living room in diapers watching it. I mean, from by the time I could start remembering, I was watching the movies. Like they were like the earliest memories I had the movie playing on the TV. I'd sit there and I'd just watch it over and over and over again. I think I burned through 2 VHS tapes. how much I watched it, but I don't know. It was like really the only movie I could sit down and focus on as a kid. I mean, it's just a really good movie. I loved it.
Awesome. That's what I expected you young kids to say, right? As he's the one that's got the poster in the background too, which is pretty crazy, right? Right down there. He's got the official movie poster.
3 people.
You know, Nick, it's great that you love it because when I talk to people around your age, they tell me that they like the 2007 movie better than the original, which is surprising. Which I'm not knocking the 2007 movie. However, it's just how can I put it this way? It's nice to hear that your generation still likes the original movie.
I'm not gonna, knocking the bass. I don't like the bass. Nothing about the bass. fuck that. Freaking.
Well, let's jump around a bit because why not? We spent a lot of time on the first movie. The idea was let's go through each one individually, but yeah, there's a lot. There's the Bays, there's the original trilogy, there's the newer ones, there's the 2007. Let's just kind of jump around a little bit, right? Let's jump right to the fan favorite, the Coming Out of Their Shells tour. I'm joking. We're not going to talk about that monstrosity. That Nightmare Fuel.
You know what's better than that? The Christmas episode.
Oh, Jesus.
That was amazing.
Everybody loves the Christmas one, right?
Oh my God, what Nightmare Fuel. But let's go to for me, I've always enjoyed the first one, and the second one was always a notorious film for me because it was I didn't have it on VHS. I actually didn't have it on VHS until about 2 months ago when my cousin gave me a copy of it. So I never really had it growing up, but kind of thinking about movies, right? I want to talk about the 2007 animated movie because that's going to jump shifts a little bit. That's going to put Nick in our shoes when it comes to movies. So with that being said, Nick, start it off. Did you see the 2007 movie, and does it mean anything to you?
Yeah, I actually I went and saw the 2007 movie in theaters as soon as I saw the trailer. I was already telling my parents about it, we have to go and see it. When we're in theaters watching it, I actually really enjoyed it, and I like how it's kind of a continuation of the original trilogy, the live action trilogy that was just animated now. And so I really, really loved the whole tiebacks that it had with the characters, the little props you'd see behind. It's like cool little tie-ins. I love the movie. It's kind of a good way to kind of tie in the older generation into it.
Yeah, I bet. Steven, did you watch it when it came out in theaters, or is that something you caught later on?
No, I actually went to go see it. When I went to see it, I was kind of hoping it would be a little bit better. I was hoping for Shredder and Krang and all that, and I didn't do any research before I went to go see it, so honestly, it was a little disappointing. Looking back at it now, it's a much better movie than I thought it was back then. It's just, how can I put it this way? The animation is great, but not, in my opinion, nothing beats the OG. But yeah, for those who didn't see it, I would recommend seeing it.
Do you know what that animation studio worked on right after that film that didn't get released?
No, I did not know.
A Legend of Zelda. They did a Legend of Zelda pitch to Nintendo right after that movie was made, and Nintendo was like, "Nope, not happening." So yeah, it's out there. You can find it on the internet. It's actually pretty decent. It's a small little clip, but yeah, that's what they worked on next after the Turtles movie.
Okay, didn't know.
Yeah, I like that movie. The 2007 one. I know it was a little bit different. I know they switched it to the CGI and everything, but I like the idea of like the monsters behind it, the twist. I mean, I've always, other than Rise, the TV show, I've always kind of liked the way they change it around and they go, create something new. Not to say that there was anything even wrong with Rise. It just wasn't for me personally. I believe that was totally dedicated to the kids and everything. I think a lot of these are, and this was. I felt like that one kind of connected the two, like Steven said, where it was like, hey, we're going to give you a little bit of this, but we want to bring the newer generation into it too. That being said, my daughter's not a fan of it at all. I've tried to get her to sit down and watch it with me a bunch of times, and she just won't do it. If it's not 2012 or 2003, she's not into it. But, yeah, I mean, I liked it personally. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I'm definitely mixed on it myself, looking back at it, because when I first went and saw it in theaters when it first came out, I was just, I think it was like my second year of college, and I was obviously still a huge Turtles fan, but I didn't really like the idea of the CGI. Now the models, like the character models that they did, I was pretty keen on those. I didn't mind them at all. I liked the way they looked. And that first like intro with Leonardo in the jungle with the cloak on, which now that I'm talking about it, I kind of feel like that's a throwback to the old comics with the Jim Lawson, that they had that awesome cloak around their head. That was such an incredible scene. That really sold me on that film, but there were a couple things that really bothered me. Like that, like the cloak. Yep. So what really, I'm a big Raphael fan, and the problem that I have that movie is the Night Watcher. I didn't really like the Night Watcher story arc. I liked the idea of the midnight or like the late night vigilante that he portrayed, but I didn't like the model. Because Raph was bulky looking and he had that armor on, and I don't know, the animation didn't really vibe with me. And then like what Steven said, we weren't up to date on the lore. We were kind of like the cartoon purists, I feel like, when we were kids, like that's just how it was. And I didn't know who Karai was. I didn't even know that was an actual canonical character. Just overall, I didn't like the film when it came out, but as we got older, I like it a lot more the more that I watch it. I think it's a pretty decent film, but the part that holds a lot, like a special place in my heart, is I was working at GameStop when it came out, and the video game came out for the Xbox 360, and it was an easy 1,000-point game. And I remember that was the reason I played it. It wasn't because I loved Ninja Turtles. It's because it was an easy 1,000-point game. And I remember enjoying it because it was Ninja Turtles as I was playing it, instead of feeling like I was slogging through a video game. So for anybody that's achievement hunters out there, you can play the old TMNT game. It was pretty good. And it was an easy 1,000 points, but looking back at it as a fourth movie, I think it was a good entry, because what was to come after that wasn't the greatest of entries, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, I will say, like, with those, I want to go back kind of just to, like, because you brought up that, and I grabbed the figures and everything. The figures, actually, I really enjoyed. I like that they were taller, because these are almost NECA size. And I think these could have a lot of potential for like updated articulation. That was my issue with like these, but I love the character design with them. I agree with you on the whole Raphael thing. I feel like the Night Watcher, I think he was a cool character. I think it was a cool idea. I think the execution in his outfit was not adequate. If that's I don't know if that's the best way to put it.
Poor design choices, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I don't like seeing turtles all armored up. That's my personal opinion. So, yeah. So, did we ever get a 2003 movie based on the animation?
Well, the 2003 series movie, that would be Turtles Forever.
Yeah, Turtles Forever.
Turtles Forever, which is my favorite TMNT movie, like, out of them all. I love, like, if we're gonna talk about that.
Yeah, fuck it, let's do it. Let's just talk about that one. Hell yeah, let's go on.
Well,
right in.
I don't know how long you want to talk, because like I said, that's my favorite one. I love everything about it. Batman versus TMNT is approaching that position too, though. I love that one too. I love the figures for that line and everything. Other than the fact that I can't keep the figures' hands in, they just fall off at the wrist because the way the ball joints are. They're so tiny.
Yeah,
Just,
definitely. But yeah, let's talk about that. Let's bounce it off you. Let's bounce it off of Nick, because I know Nick obviously saw it. That's Nick's series that he grew up on. That's our classic. That's what he grew up with. And we'll bounce it back to Steven and see what Steven has to say. I can't say much because I've only watched it like twice, and I don't remember a single thing about it outside of the ending. But, take it away, man.
Oh, man, I love Turtles Forever. Now, I'll say the same thing that 99% of the fans are going to say. They made the original Turtles look just silly dumb. Yes, the original Turtles were corny. They were not that corny. They were not that, like, idiotic. But in the 2003 series, they totally made them look idiotic, which I think was intentionally done, because I know Laird didn't really care too much for the original series. So when he got his hands on 2003 and he was part of that, they went back more towards the comic origins and in the actual cartoon. That I think that was kind of his, like, now I've got a hold of this, I'm going to slap around what you guys did with my franchise. I'm not saying that's true. I'm just saying that's my feelings towards how it happened. But so I think it's funny the way they did it, because I'm not holding on to too much of that. But I love the interaction between Mikey and the old Turtles. I love when they bring the Mirage Turtles into it at the end. Their interactions. One of my favorite scenes in all of Turtles history is when they're going down on the blimp towards the end of it, and Mikey. There's something about the way Mikey screams in that part of the movie. It just, it's just so good. It's just so good. I mean, I don't really know what else to say other than, yeah, I mean, to me, it's just incredible.
Nick,
I do have to say, sorry to interrupt, but I do have to say, what kind of going on with you, Gary, the ending stands out to me the best. I don't know if you were going to say that, but the ending sticks out to me. It brought all the turtles in. Sorry if I spoiled it, if nobody saw it. However, like I said, it's just the ending was probably one of the best endings for Turtles, in my opinion. Sorry, Nick, go on.
Well,
let's go, Nick. You're the expert here.
Showing all the different turtles going around in the cycle. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt. This movie gets me excited. I love it.
So, I did like that movie, but the only thing that kind of made me kind of resent the movie was how they changed the way the turtles and characters looked after that. So, like, during the movie, you had, like, the whole classic-looking 2003 turtles, but Casey and April, they changed models for them. They changed the way Casey and April looked from the whole 2003 series. Then right after that, they completely redid the turtles from that movie. So that was like the last iteration that we saw, the classic 2003 turtles, was that movie, and then they were done. So, I mean, I love the movie, but it kind of left a sour taste after that.
Well, that was the whole point of it. It was created to be the finale.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but once they made
right
season
after,
7, it was all different.
Right,
yeah, because otherwise we were just left with an empty ending for the series, and then it took them a couple years to give us Turtles Forever. I mean, I guess it sucks that it had to end there, yeah, but it was. I feel like it was always designed for that to be the finale of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got nothing to add to it. All I remember is the ending, and I remember all the turtles coming in, and I just thought, like, this is gonna be the coolest thing ever, and then it just was a complete disappointment to me. I didn't like it at all. I thought the voices were stupid. I thought the classic comic book versions of them were kind of corny, kind of forced, like those shitty Batman movies that came out, the more recent ones with the forced Batman voice. I just can't do that stuff. So, bad acting. So yeah, that's literally all I've got on it. I can't remember much on it. I remember trying to like it, and I just really didn't like it. So, really,
kind of off topic a little bit. Yeah. The 2012 series of the TV show, they brought in the original OG Turtles and the voice actors during some of the episodes, and I thought that was amazing. if that the 2003 movie Turtles Forever would actually did kind of what the 2012 series did, I think it would have been a lot better. So sorry,
I definitely
off
agree.
topic.
No, I definitely agree. I wholeheartedly agree on that because I think the 2012 stuff was incredible. I think they did a really good job on that. It's really tough to understand Donatello as Raphael with the voice, but that's a whole nother thing. But let's jump right into we'll do both Michael Bay films, right? And I'll kick this one off to kind of set the tone for the Michael Bay films. They're the greatest Turtles films they've ever put out. For our audio listeners out there, I'm just getting stared at. No, so anyway, those Turtles films to me, I was so hyped to go see them. I remember sitting down with April in the theaters, and I was like, I cannot wait to see these. This is going to be awesome because I remember watching the Transformers movies in the theaters. Now, that's a very divided subject, but the original Transformers stuff, like the first two films were excellent. I remember when they came out, everybody was like, this is what nostalgic needs to hit. And then the Turtles movie just kind of fell flat. I remember walking out like, it was all right. It was something. I don't care about the designs. Outside of the nostrils. Nostrils have to go. But the first movie to me was just, it was like the Megan Fox show. It was one of those things where it's like, let's just sell good looking women and explosions, the Michael Bay formula. And I didn't like that, but I think they really did a lot of good fan service on the second one. It's just really hard to get over the designs, which seems to be everybody's big gripe that we'll really get to with the new film. That's everybody's big gripe with these things. It's the designs, but look at every iteration of the Turtles. They're completely different every single time, and they're not all hits. Like me personally, I like the 2003 series. I don't like the designs that much. That's just me, but I appreciate them.
Them changing their iterations is what's kept them around so long.
Right.
You can't stick with one thing forever. Times change, things change. Like you have to update and modernize. That's just the way it is. Otherwise, your brand dies.
Right. Yeah. You know what I mean?
There's no arguing that. That's just how it works.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from our childhood that we didn't. That's not around. Darkwing Duck's not around. I'm just coming off of like Disney stuff. Like Tailspin's not around.
It should be.
Definitely should be. I mean, we did end up getting a new, was it DuckTales? But that was, completely different style, obviously, new animation, and that was laid dormant for 20 years. So it's never been consistent. So, yeah, they got to keep reinventing themselves for them to stay relevant, and we're not going to like every single one, but at the end of the day, we're going to die off in 30, 40, 50 years, right? And then they're going to want that franchise to keep going. Viacom wants to invest.
Gary, I got to interrupt you. Yeah. I have to interrupt you because you know what? What about all these reboots? How many TV shows, movies, TV shows, are they rebooting with the original cast? I honestly think if they reboot the 87 cartoon, everybody would love it, even the younger generation.
I think so too.
So
bring
the original cast back. Unfortunately, you can't bring Shredder, or you bring Shredder back, but you can't bring the voice actor back. But they should bring that back. I bet you they'd make millions, billions.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. There's definitely that weird stigma of we have to reinvent the wheel all the time, which really is the Turtles formula to really keep it going. But yeah, I agree. And on top of that, why not do it alongside something else, right? So we're getting the Mutant Mayhem. Why not do it alongside that? I don't see a big issue with that. But we're getting off topic. Let's focus. We'll jump to that. I promise everybody we'll get to that. But yeah. The second movie, in my opinion, was just fanfare. It was just what everybody was complaining about in the first movie. They did a very good job of getting it, to showing off all these extra characters and origins and all of that, which was really fun. The movie just felt too action oriented, which is the Michael Bay formula. I would personally like more grounded narrative and more grounded experiences than all the crazy bombastic animated cartoon style stuff. That's just not me. But one person I've never heard really talk about it is Nick. Nick, did you see? I mean, you've seen the movies, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I saw the movies. The first one, I'd say, it was one of those. It was super flashy with how they try to do everything. A lot of action and all that, and the whole, like you said, Michael Bay formula, explosions, trying to sell women. Pretty much, that's pretty much what that the Bay movies were for me. I do like the whole design of the turtles. Probably not as big as they were though, but their overall design with like clothes, their jewelry, and all, and like kind of added a different characteristic to them. Kind of showed their personality. I do like both those movies. They were supposed to make a third, but after the second one kind of flopped, they scrapped it. So other than that, I did like the movies, but they did treat the actors for the turtles pretty poorly. So I kind of have some resentment towards it, but
Yeah, they weren't treated nice
really,
at all. They definitely came out after
no,
that film of how bad they were treated in that, and they weren't paid very much
yeah,
either.
no. They'd always be the first people there, the last to leave. It was
Well, it
kind of
seems to be, I mean, that kind of happened with the original Turtles back in the day too. There was whole like union protests and stuff, whole bunch of stuff. So that seems to run in line with the history of Turtles in general for some reason, which really sucks because that shouldn't be happening. These are the people making you the money. You shouldn't be kicking them around. You have no money without these people. So that's my view on that.
yeah.
But I personally, I didn't like it. I like you said, it's the Michael Bay formula, which just isn't my thing. I'm not against being action oriented or anything like that. I like the idea that one of my biggest gripes with Turtles 3 is, there was like 3 fights in it, 4 maybe. And so that was like one of my biggest issues with that. So I think it needed a different style, and Bay is very clear cut on the one way he does it. Like you said, throw a hot girl in there, throw a bunch of explosions, and do a bunch of quick whipping around with the camera really fast, and throw a bunch of shiny metal into it and call it a day. And some 8-year-old kids jokes. And I understand that the movie was meant to bring kids into the next generation of it. The second one, I also agree, had some more things, like they brought in Krang and Rocksteady and Bebop, and one of the worst shredders on the planet. Like we don't need a mecha shredder. We needed a shredder. We had Super Shredder. Why we can't just like go back to that old style of like, we should just go back to 2, forget about 3 because nobody likes that. That's universally disliked by everybody. Because the only like continuity in that is like the time scepter that Renette carries is like the only thing that ties that movie towards anything.
Well, I'll interject. That movie is actually really good script-wise. It's the filming and the suits that suck. And then the terrible like innuendos and like the swing, like that stuff. Like they were just kind of referencing, it was a Wayne's World at the time.
Yeah.
But go back and watch that as an adult if you haven't watched it recently. And it's actually, if you pay attention to the story itself, not the acting, not the camera angles, not the poor effects, not the suits, like the actual story itself. If they remade that movie right now, that movie would fucking slap. Guaranteed that movie would slap.
I don't know. If we're gonna jump right in, I'll go into 3 because I don't like 3 at all either. I think the whole okay. I don't want to sound like I'm quoting AVGN, Angry Video Game Nerd, because they did a thing on this, and there's a lot of his views towards it that he made a video many years ago about it, but I agree with a lot of his views on it. Like, April gets put back, back in time, and she's like sitting in the jail, and she looks over at the guy, she's like, Casey? Like it's one of Casey's relatives. And why would he respond to Casey? Like he wouldn't know that he's Casey's distant relative from the past, and then looks down at the ground and sees like this random rat. And is like, you look familiar too. Yeah, it's a rat. We only know one Splinter. Like I can't tell any other rat apart, and he makes a mention of that. And he's like, I wouldn't be able to tell any other rat apart. And it's like, of course the rat reminds you of Splinter. It's a rat. But I didn't like it. Just didn't like it. It's not good. It's not a good movie.
What about you, Steven? Anything in the Bane films? Anything at all you want to add?
No, I mean, see, here's the thing with the Bane films. I really didn't like it, but I like the memory behind it. I took my nephew when he was younger. So I'll have that memory with him. I did not like the movie. However, kind of bouncing back to number 2, since we didn't talk to, well, not bouncing back, but we didn't talk about number 2, is they didn't use their weapons in the number
Right.
2 movie. I'm not too sure a lot of people know this or realize this, but I just found that interesting that too many people complain about it, or adults, or parents, I should say, and that's why they didn't use them, which I think it was so stupid.
Right. Yeah, I definitely agree. And they use them in goofy little ways in the second movie, and then it was a Mikey grabs the sausages as nunchucks. So
Yeah.
those aren't actual nunchucks, even though they probably hit just as hard. So they were able to do that. But
Yeah, the cold cut combos.
yep, the cold cut combos. So
Yeah, and Donnie with his little what do you call it, the foam bat.
yep. So
Yeah.
I guess we'll
Mikey
finish
with
this
the yo-yo.
off. We're gonna finish this one off talking about Mutant Mayhem, a film we haven't seen yet that's been really polarizing in the community. If you haven't fallen asleep yet during this, hopefully you've made it this far and you'll be able to get the spicy one. Y'all are putting me to sleep here. We need to talk about the Mutant Mayhem. We gotta actually say what we feel on the whole matter, and we'll say that we've seen the stuff. We've seen the promotional images. We're not going to put them up on the screen, so if you're only listening, don't worry, you're not missing any images. I actually put no images up during this time around because I wanted to just focus on the conversation. And Paramount, don't come for us because I know you're taking down a lot of these videos showing off.
Yeah,
stuff.
they've been pulling people's pictures left and right from what I've been hearing.
You're not going to see any photos on this, but let's just talk about Mutant Mayhem. We don't know what's going to be story-wise for the most part. We've seen some teases from like a year ago. We've only seen some promotional images of them. We have a very small knowledge of the voice cast right now, with a couple of rumored voice cast members that are like cameos, which we will not get into. But if you'll find them on the internet, I don't want to out my source on this one. But let's really talk about it. It's polarizing. There's so many mixed emotions on this talking about and looking at these models, and going back what we just talked about through the course of the movies. That's just going to lead us up to here. What's the consensus? What are we thinking about when it comes to what we're expecting and how we feel?
I mean, for the designs, I like the fact that they kind of a little bit resemble the 87 Turtles. So with that, I'm definitely going to go see that movie. But with the only thing I don't like about the design is Raph has. Never mind. I don't want to.
The full headband from that.
Yeah.
Well, that's a big thing that people are complaining about. But that's a thing from the original comic books, and that's definitely something they've been doing more of since the Bay films did it first, I think, in the films, and now it's like every iteration of Raph's got the full headband. I guess it's a way to decipher him. I guess it makes him look a little more tough. That's just kind of his whole thing. But yeah,
like a biker.
Yeah, like a biker. We'll get into that though. I think that's a good topic to talk about. But I definitely see where you're coming from, Steven. Justin, I know you kind of like them, right? You took a look at them since the last podcast.
I hadn't. Yeah, that podcast. I haven't even been able to see them yet. They just came out. Now that I haven't seen them, I'm actually excited for it. I'm not a big fan of the whole big, like the unproportionate head thing. But that just comes with this culture. That's part of the evolution that we're going through right now, and just in general. We have so much Funko. We have like, what are they, dorks or whatever. We have all these big head things. So it makes sense that they would go that route. I'm not a fan of that. Otherwise, I don't think the art style's that bad. I do think there is some resemblance. I don't mind the full bandana over Raph's head. That's been referenced in a lot of the cartoons, mostly when they're showing them as children and stuff like that. But there are times throughout the cartoons where Raph does wear it, or another one of the turtles wears it, and full over their eyes and everything. So that doesn't bother me as much. I'm excited to see what happens in the storyline. I mean, I'm always excited to see a new Turtles movie, and I'm always willing to give it a shot. Whether or not I like it after I see it's going to be a whole nother thing. I am going into it with the expectations that it's for my kids, because we know it's aimed at kids for sure this time around. So I'm not going into it expecting some down-to-earth, gritty, action-packed freak-out movie. I'm going into it looking at, Seth Rogen like, hey, you're making a movie for kids. You know what I mean? So I'm not expecting it to get crazy and wild and violent and stuff like that. I'm sure we'll get another one of those movies at some point in time, or at least I'm hoping we do. They seem to be good about balancing it out. We got Batman versus TMNT, which was just full of fanfare. Which, I mean, you could go through and you could count you could count probably 50 or more Easter eggs in that were just like, a fan would like that, a fan would like that, a fan would like that. But that's how it works. Well, I'm going into it with the expectation that I hope my daughter likes it. So we will definitely be going to see it. We will, yeah, I mean, we'll definitely go see it when it comes on DVD, whether I like it or not. It'll be in my collection. It's got to go with the other 40 of them sitting over here for no reason.
DVD, it's 2023. I mean, Blu-ray or digital? Who buys DVDs? Come on.
Laser disc.
Oh, laser disc. Dude, how wild would it be if it came out on laser disc? Holy hell.
Well, I have to spin that wheel record up here from the soundtrack.
That's awesome. Nick, are you hyped for him? Do you have anybody you're going to bring to go see it? Or what are you expecting, man? Because I know, like I said, I know we always talk about you being the youngest, man, but like there's different perspectives, we're old heads, we're purists, what are your thoughts? Like, how are you feeling in regard to the new film and the new designs?
I'm actually kind of excited for it.
I'm joking. Go ahead, Nick.
It's kind of like when, what was that?
Nothing. I was making fun of you because you took so long to think about it. I was just busting your balls.
I was assuming it was the lag.
Oh, audio is kind of cutting in and out for me right now. So, but I'm actually kind of excited for it. I mean, with the whole new designs, it's kind of like the whole Rise movie that came out. I never watched Rise. I just didn't really like it. I watched that movie and I loved it. So I'm kind of going in the same thing. Don't judge a book by its cover. Wait till you actually see it. But just from a few of the cover arts that I've seen, like kind of teasers that they put out, like where they're sitting on a rooftop eating pizza, you can kind of see some of the mutants that will be in there. I think I saw maybe 2 or 3 different mutants that you'll see in the movie. They're like far in the background and all that in the Technodrome. So I'm kind of excited for it. Fortunately, nephew's not born yet, so I can't take him. So I'll be by myself. But I'm excited for these movies.
Right. Yeah, definitely. And I apologize for our audio listeners. I keep getting messages on my Facebook Messenger right now, and if it picks up on the audio, I'm so sorry. But if you're watching this, Mike Templeton, fuck off for sending me messages while recording. So anyway, hey,
I haven't heard a ding.
Hey, we can swear as long as it's not the majority of the film, and I've only done like 3 or 4 swears, and it's not the majority of the words. So
as long as it's not the first few minutes,
first 18 seconds, and if it's not the first 18 seconds, it's the majority of your words can't be swears. So fuck you, YouTube. So anyway, we can swear when we want.
Demonetized
For the money we don't even make on these films or these recordings. Hell yeah, this thing we do for fun.
Yeah, we lose monetization.
Yeah, if we did this for money, I assure you, I'd make sure Nick wasn't doing it on a goddamn iPhone. So anyway,
that's probably why my audio is cutting out right now.
I mean. How many 50-year-old women are doing podcasts? So, I mean, it's the old lady phone. Anyway, that's just an on-running joke we've got. So
I'll touch on Rise real quick.
I'm gonna act like I heard that.
I came into this saying that I love all these TMNT movies, and then I'm just like trashing on them. And I swear that's not how I don't know. Anyway, Rise is another one that I'm gonna kind of trash on because Leo's my favorite, and Rise was good for like 9 minutes. Up until Casey goes through the portal. And then once he goes through the portal, I'm done with the movie.
Right. I've seen nothing on Rise. Now I'm going to touch briefly on it. I hate Rise. I hate the designs, right? And I know a lot of people hate the Mutant Mayhem designs. So I totally understand how you cannot like a design. I hated the Rise designs. I thought they were awful. I just didn't enjoy them at all. I refused to watch anything Rise. The only thing Rise got right was that they touched back on the homage of Raphael, I guess, being the leader of the group, which was like an original concept for the Turtles. That's the best thing about that I thought was awesome. The fact that they made him a giant gorilla and then they gave everybody superpowers and stuff, not my cup of tea. So that's literally all I can say on it, because I don't like it, but I'll never go out of my way to like shit on it. You know what I mean? Like, I still appreciate it being there. It's a pretty good medium. It's a good experimentation. But talking about Mutant Mayhem, kind of the same idea. We keep seeing this on the internet. Everybody's shitting on it. Everybody's giving it guff. You know, we've got Donatello with glasses and a cell phone and headphones. And everyone's like, oh, we get it. He does machines. But that's kind of like the personality that he's been having for a while. Has anybody seen that awesome commercial that was like overseas for like a telecom company with Donatello sitting?
Yeah.
And, you know, and they call him up and he goes and fixes or whatever. And he's all like, he's got a couple of little gadgets on him. That's kind of been the thing.
Plumber gadget.
Yeah, it's kind of been the thing. And then they've got Michelangelo with the braces, which people keep pointing out the braces look stupid, and you know, why would they do that?
I think it's dumb, but whatever. Like, I'm not gonna cry over a turtle with braces. Like,
right.
And
my question is, who's their dentist?
Who's their dentist?
One of the things I've loved about. Sorry, go ahead. Oh, okay. Well, then one of the things I've loved about Donatello's evolution is he's now becoming standard with his headgear, with the goggles and, you know, all that stuff. I like that. I think it makes sense for Donatello to just standardly have that stuff. So I think that's really cool that in his evolution that's coming out. I also love that Mikey's evolution has made him known to be the most natural when it comes to the martial arts, which is why he was the winner of the Battle Nexus, and he doesn't have to do anything and train as much as the rest. He's just got the natural skill level.
Right. Yeah.
I like that they finally closed that off and like how that came to be. So
definitely. Well,
but anyway,
touching base here, Steven, I hear clicking going on over there. Are you clicking, boy? Are you on your computer right now? You looking at?
I'm always on my computer.
Are you looking at Rule 34 TMNT now that we showed you what Rule 34 is?
No.
Oh, we got your ass. Everybody, Steven's looking at Rule 34 TMNT.
No, definitely not.
Turtle dicks for days.
Now we're definitely monetized.
No, never going to that website again.
So a fun little concept, right?
You can go look at that.
Yeah, fun little trick. We were in a group chat the other day, and I knew this was going to happen because Steven's the resident doesn't know things on the internet out of all of us, and me,
your boy,
knowing all about Rule 34. Here's your warning: don't go look it up. It's not safe for work if you don't know what it is. I dropped a Rule 34 joke in the chat, knowing that Steven was going to look it up, and he did, and it was amazing. No,
it wasn't. I disagree. Seriously, do not go to that website.
It was.
Every time you tell somebody not to do it, you know they're going to do it. You just trolled our entire fan base.
It's just Steven's the curious one that's just like, I've never heard of that. Let me look that up real quick.
What Gary did is he put he just put Rule 34 joke, and I told Steven's like, oh, what's that? I'm like, don't look it up. And he's like, what is it? I'm like, don't look it up. And he's like, what is it? I'm like,
tell somebody not to look.
Don't look it up.
Oh,
and
of
course
God.
He looked it up.
Perfectly executed. But yeah, so we'll leave it off on that. We'll leave it off on that fun little Rule 34 joke. I always promise that we're gonna get better. We're gonna shake off the cobwebs as we go. We're gonna do our best to like not talk over each other. We'll do our best for Steven to stop showing his collection of stickers on screen. That's all wallpaper in the background. He doesn't actually have any toys. He just owns stickers.
Zero.
See there, dude. There it is. Bring that back up. Bring that back up for the videos. I was gonna bring this up. Yeah, the baby turtles had all of them. The 03 baby turtles had the full headgear.
That's what I'm
all of
talking
them.
about.
You could have a Donatello somewhere.
Yep, 100%. They were all in there. So, like, yeah, it's a throwback. Stop complaining about it. I will admit, I don't care about the Mikey braces. I got to throw that on there. The Mikey brace is a little over the top for me, but we'll see what happens, right?
You know, he lives in a sewer. He eats so much pizza. He's got to have bad teeth, right?
Right. Yeah, we'll see what happens. So, on that note, be open-minded on this stuff. We're all adults. It's you know, we have our own all opinions. Like me, I don't like Rise. A lot of people don't like Rise, but I'm not being a jerk about it. So we'll see how it is. And I mean, keep in mind as a closing note, there is that, we'll say, kind of rumored, maybe confirmed Last Ronin miniseries that they've been talking about working on. So we'll see what happens with that. I don't really know how to go into that too much, but maybe there's supposedly going to be a Last Ronin miniseries. They alluded to it when I saw them a couple months ago. So maybe we'll see if that ever comes to light. But I mean, that's about it. But we're about to hit our 50-minute mark on this. I really appreciate everybody for jumping in and, you know, checking out episode 2. I will always promise we're going to get better as we go along. Just stick with us. Give us some suggestions. Tell us how we're doing, what you want to see, maybe some topics you want us to talk about, and we will just kind of continue to go from there. And I hope everybody has a great weekend. If you're watching this when it goes up on Friday, if you're watching it after Friday, enjoy whatever freaking day you're on right now. So I appreciate everybody taking their time to jump out, listen to us, and you know, listen to a bunch of old people and one young person talk about dumb stuff that they love. Everybody, take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
See ya.
See you next time. Next Friday, we'll be here again. What else are we gonna do?
Same place.